Hello and welcome to another special edition of DK and Gray. My name's Dave Kennedy. Joining me, as always, is Gray Morris, and we've got a special guest today. Jess Sullivan joins me. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
It may be preliminary final for the men this week, but for the women, it's grand final week, and what a special occasion it is. So we're going to discuss that first. Waratahs are taking on Buffaloes. Gray, firstly, to yourself, who's going to win?
I think Tars will win. Tars have, they've won, that was a 16 games out of the 18 all season. It's been a terrific year. Abby Holmes with 100 goals, and they've just been magnificent.
You touched on Abby Holmes with her 100 goals. Jess, it's been a great season for women's football. Who do you think is going to win on the weekend?
Oh, I think Tars will probably end up getting over them. Buffalo had a really strong game last week in the prelim, but yeah, I just think Tars are too strong. They were really strong in their semi-final as well, even though they were missing a couple of really important players, Abby included.
And obviously, looking forward to that game. Is Abby Holmes the key playmaker for the day, Jess?
Oh, I wouldn't say that she is. They've also got young Darren Purantatamiri in their forward line. She's a absolute X factor for them. She can turn a game on its head in a couple of seconds. So I think that her and Abby in their forward line will probably be really key for them. But they've also got a really strong defence and midfield as well. They're just a pretty impregnable team, really. The
complete unit. And obviously, Gray, you've been around footy for a long time in the territory. Is this the strongest women's comp that you've seen? It
is. It's been going now for about 10 years, I think. And yeah, Waratahs have been outstanding. But I wouldn't write off the Buffaloes by the same token too. I was talking to young Bianca Stokes the other day. Very, very confident are the Buffalo girls.
Well, that should be a cracking game. That game will be here at TIO Stadium, and it will be broadcast live on #AFLNTv. Jess, we'll ask you to hang around because we're going to preview the preliminary final, which will follow the women's grand final. In this game, Wanderers will take on Waratahs. Looks like another blockbuster affair. We've got a treat of a day at TIO Stadium. Who's going to win the Premier League game, Gray?
It's an interesting one, David. First preliminary final between these two sides for 8 years. 2004-05 was the last time they met in the grand final qualifier, you could tell it. I think Wanderers have got too much depth and too much to lose by losing the grand final. Against a very dangerous Tars side, though. They're on a real roll.
We talk about speed with Wanderers, and we've become accustomed to them having a lot of it. Waratahs have got plenty of speed of their own, though. Do you think that will create some interesting matchups?
Well, they have, you're right. As you say, we talk about Tars' pace, Wanderers' pace, but Waratahs are a very quick side. Jack McEwen and the like, young Sam Godden, of course, who's had a terrific final series so far. Yeah, and of course the Wanderers backline a little bit suspect. So if Waratahs can get on the board early, anything could happen.
So we'll go with a tip for this game for you, Gray.
I'll go for Wanderers in the end by about 29 points.
Jess, what are your thoughts on this game? How do you see this one panning out, and who's going to win?
Well, I just think Waratahs have got their heads up after a great game last week, so I'm going to tip them for it.
I'm going to go with Waratahs also, so that's 2 to Waratahs. Gray, you're in the minority, but I don't think you're in the public minority. It should be an interesting game. That game at TIO Stadium from 6:30. Well, after Super Saturday here at TIO Stadium, AFLNT's players, officials and umpires will all head to Sky City for the Officeworks Nichols Medal for season 2013-14. Gray, it's a special occasion in territory football.
Fantastic night it is, the best and fairest for the 2013-14 season. Plenty of chances.
And obviously we want to look at some of those chances. Who's your tip for this year?
I knew you'd ask me that. I'm going to stick with Richard Tambling, who won the NT News Player of the Year, so I have to go with him. He's had a terrific, he only played 8 games, but 5 of them are very, very good, and I'm sure those men in orange would have noticed that. And my other guy who's going to be right up there is Peter McFarlane from St Mary's, probably one of the most underrated players as far as umpires go, and I hope the umpires are listening, but I would love Peter McFarlane to be right up there at the end of the count.
He's been an inspirational captain all year, so your tip's great. Of course, Peter McFarlane as the smoky and Richard Tambling off just 8 games, so interesting thoughts. Jess, what are your thoughts? Who's going to win the Nichols Medal this season?
Well, I would think Abby Holmes would probably have to be in contention for it.
Geez, she's had a great season. I'm sure that... will she win the women's best and fairest for the league?
I think she'd have to be a great chance for her after kicking 100 in a season. I think probably a more realistic prospect for the Nichols Medal would maybe be Shaq McKenzie from St Mary's.
What a stunning season he's had in just his first season in the NTFL, so he's a real prospect, isn't he, Gray?
He is. He could have sort of played with East Perth last season too in the Waffle. Is one of the Rising Star nominees too, so it could be a sensational season for him.
What about Phil Wills from Buffaloes?
Probably the outstanding player at the Buffaloes, Philip Wills, as he has been the last 4 or 5 years, Phil. He's a great player.
He has been a sensational player. I think, for me personally, I think that Seb Gilhouse, big Seb Gilhouse from Nightcliff, he's my prediction, and I think that maybe Peter McFarlane has a bit of a smoky as well. I think he's had a superb season. But from all of us here today, I'm DK.
I'm Gray.
I'm Jess Sullivan.
Good on you, Jess. And this is DK and Gray featuring Jess Sullivan. Hope you've enjoyed it today.